Today we're going to read two versions of Jack and the Beanstalk. Jack and the Beanstalk by Helen Lester, illustrated by Jesus Arcuado. Once upon a time, a boy named Jack lived with his mother in a poor little hut. What money they had for food came from selling milk from their cow, Mutsala. But when old Mutsala stopped giving milk, they knew they would have to sell her. So Jack and the cow hiked into the village. Hours later, Jack returned alone with a handful of beans. Beans! Beans. "You've got to be kidding me," yelled Jack's mother. "You were supposed to sell Mutsala for money. Beans can't buy food." "But the beans are so pretty," said Jack. "This is a mess," sighed his mother. Jack went outside and planted the pretty beans in a sunny spot. He gave them a drink of water. Maybe, just maybe, they would grow. And grow they did. Overnight, the seeds had sprouted. By morning, they had wound it into a beautiful beanstalk. "How did it grow so fast?" wondered Jack. It had grown up, and out of sight beyond the clouds. "Woo-wee!" exclaimed Jack. Being a curious lad, he simply had to climb it. Where would the beanstalk lead? He went up and higher until he went beyond the clouds. Ta-da! Jack gazed upon an enormous castle. He saw some creepy-looking signs, too. "Go away! Only giants allowed! Beware large, hungry beings!" And from inside the castle, a voice boomed. "Fee-fi-fo-fum! Time for Betty, hody-hum." On the ground was a little bag of gold. Jack looked left and right and swipe! Down the beanstalk he went with his treasure. The big sleeper surely wouldn't miss such a small bag. At the sight of the gold, Jack's mother allowed herself a smile. The next morning, Jack climbed the beanstalk again. "Fee-fi-fo-fum! Time for Betty, hody-hum." "Whew, good timing," thought Jack, and this time he helped himself to a goose who was very busy laying golden eggs. At the sight of the busy goose cranking out golden eggs, Jack's mother allowed herself a giggle. The next morning, Jack eagerly climbed the beanstalk. He wondered what treasures awaited him. Oh dear, he did not find what he had expected. "Fee-fi-fo-fum! Where on earth did you come from?" From down on earth," replied Jack. "Well, I came up my beanstalk, which is in earth. You see, I gave it sunshine and water, but the giant was not interested in Jack's gardening skills. He was hungry." Jack, being nimble and quick, hurried down the beanstalk. As the giant followed and was halfway down, Jack grabbed an axe and whack the beanstalk and splat. "My toe hurts," whimpered the giant. "And how will I get home?" "I'll show you," said Jack kindly. First, he showed the giant how to water the beanstalk. Together they cared for the plant. It grew up and up beyond the clouds. Now the giant could climb home, and Jack bought Mutsala back. He returned everything he had taken from the giant. The gentle giant told his new friends they could keep the goose. From that day on, Jack, his mother, the goose, and Mutsala had plenty to eat and lived happily ever after. Once in a while, they invited the giant down for a giant feast. These feasts always included plenty of leafy beanstalk greens. Are you ready for the second version? Jackie and the Beanstalk by Lori Martin, illustrated by BeanStalk. Once upon a time, a girl named Jackie lived in an apartment with her father. It was crowded and messy because they lived with a gigantic cow. It was a cow. What was the cow doing there? Eating mostly. It eats like a cow. Buying the cow had been a stupendously bad idea, but nobody thought of that when it was a cute little calf. Oh, this is so adorable. Can we buy it? Sure. The bigger it grew, the more food and space it needed. Whose idea was this? It's not mine. One day, Jackie's father made an announcement. The cow has to go. He told Jackie to take the cow and sell it for $100. Come on, let's go. But nobody wanted a cow. Not firefighters, not florists, not taxi drivers. But when Jackie was about to give up, a mysterious woman walked up to her. How much for the oversized moor? $100. The woman had no money, but she did have some special beans. Plant them in some dirt and some water and wait. By morning, shazam, there'll be a beanstalk stretching up to the sky like a winding green staircase. Are you sure? Plants growth takes dirt, water, sun, and time. Jackie looked at the cow and then looked at the beans, and suddenly pocketing the beans sounded a whole lot better than hauling the cow back home. Deal. Of course, when Jackie got home, her father hit the roof. Well, not really, but he did toss the beans out the window and yelled a lot. A few beans for a whole cow! Overnight, the beans sprouted. Long, green tendrils, and that twisted and reached up towards the sky. The next morning, there it was, exactly as the woman promised. The biggest beanstalk Jackie had ever seen. Wow, I've never seen a plant grow so fast. I wonder what's at the top. Maybe there's a treasure. Jackie scrambled up the beanstalk, but before she'd gone very far, she glanced inside a window and gasped at what she saw. Look at all that stuff! It belonged to Mr. Fee-Fi-Fo-Fum, an upstairs tenant who was as big and loud as a giant. He had paintings, pianos, chandeliers, everything, even a golden harp. We need a harp for our school play. He probably wouldn't mind if I borrowed it. Jackie grabbed the harp and clambered down the giant stalk. Shoo! But it was too late. Hey, come back with my harp! Jackie hightailed it to her room and hid. Mr. Fee-Fi-Fo-Fum thinks she stole it, but she just meant to borrow it. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Who took my harp? But the longer she hid, the more she had time to think. I see why he thinks I stole it. Should have asked first. Borrowing the harp without asking was a stupendously bad idea, just like the cow. Jackie gave it back, apologized, and explained, "I'm sorry." She discovered Mr. Fee-Fi-Fo-Fum wasn't so bad once she got to know him. "Oh, that's a nice harp playing." "Thanks." Did Jackie ever find treasure? No. But she did start a business that turned into a gigantic success. Come climb Jackie's gigantic beanstalk. Cow hugs for sale. And they lived happily ever after. The end. Now you could compare and contrast the two stories. Press pause.